about free media, I'm specifically making reference to data costs. With WeFound, so we're an online platform. And I'm sure we've all noticed the gradual shift from print to online platforms. And it's that, it's not easy to access us, particularly because data costs are so high. And it's also difficult to reach people that aren't necessarily living in cities, right? So we want to be, we want to host conversations, we want to be the platform to come to, to hold debate and to carry the stories that will change people's lives, make impact. And it's unfortunate that the very people that we want to reach, we may not have access to because they don't have cell phones or because data costs are so high. We take these liberties for granted, right? We don't realize that we're privileged to that extent. And that's one of the things that I really think needs to be looked at. And in terms of transformation, at the Huffington Post, what we've done is that under the Voices vertical, we've allowed people to write in their own languages, just so that we can also be inclusive, right? And we also, take it for granted that many people know how to speak and communicate in English, but we really need to start disrupting in the spaces that we hold. And sometimes when we're placed in these jobs, in these positions, we don't realize just how much space we carry there and how we can help disrupt, and in the same vein, ensure that there's inclusion for other people as well. And in terms of accountability, so, the one thing for me is that, that's problematic, is that oftentimes journalists write for their peers. We're not necessarily writing with our audience at the center, but within the periphery, because we're trying to impress our colleagues within the industry. And that's a problem, because that's where you lose the people that you're trying to, reach out to, and the people that are trying to reach out to you. And so that's a problem, and it's great to have fraternities such as Africa Czech and Amabongani, people that are also calling other media practitioners to task, because we often don't want to be critiqued. And it's important that you're able to self-reflect and take critique and see how you could, transfer that energy into something that's better. And so I think those, in terms of, having a media that mimics all of that, it's important. And another thing that is also important, because of the medium that we use, which is communication, is the issue of language, and how our use of language is not inclusive at times to other groups that don't necessarily identify with the gender binaries that are already set. And we don't understand how much we exclude people that should be part and privy of conversations that are about them, and conversations that they could, potentially help us understand. And that also goes with unlearning. And I found that a lot in media institutions, you've got to unlearn many of the ways that, particularly for the older generation that comes from print and that are now in the online digital space. There's some of these things that we need to impart upon each other. And just to skip on quickly, so yesterday, I'm particularly happy that this event is happening within the month of October, because the 19th of October is a significant date, as it marks Press Freedom Day. Just to give a bit of context to that, it commemorates what is commonly referred to as Black Wednesday, which I'm sure some of you might know. And it's following the events on and before 19th of October in 1977.